Fire, do not fear, God is fighting for you, meaning and explanation. Inspired by Jesus Christ. Light bulb's simple meaning. This message means: backhand index pointing right, don't let fear control your life. Backhand index pointing right, you are not fighting your battles alone. It reminds you that even when life feels difficult, there is a higher power supporting you, guiding you, and giving you strength. High voltage. What do not fear really means. Do not fear does not mean problems will disappear. It means: even if problems come, don't panic. Even if the future is uncertain, don't lose hope. Even if things go wrong, don't give up. Fear is natural, but living in fear is a choice. Backhand index pointing right, this message tells you to choose faith over fear. Shield, God is fighting for you, deep meaning. This is the most powerful part of the message. It means: backhand index pointing right, you don't have to solve everything alone. Backhand index pointing right, you don't have to carry all the pressure by yourself. Backhand index pointing right, there is unseen support working in your favor. Sometimes in life, things don't go your way. Plans fail. People disappoint you. But this message reminds you: backhand index pointing right, even when you don't see it, something is working for your good. Collision, real-life connection. My dear friends, this message is for you when you feel scared about your future. You are under pressure. You feel weak or confused. It tells you: backhand index pointing right, you are stronger than you think. Backhand index pointing right, you are supported, even if you feel alone. Backhand index pointing right, you will get through this phase. Red heart, deeper truth. Sometimes, what feels like a setback is actually protection. Sometimes, delays are not rejection. They are preparation. The teachings of Jesus Christ show that faith during difficult times leads to strength, growth, and eventually a better path. Glowing star final message. Do not fear, God is fighting for you, is not just motivation. Backhand index pointing right, it is a reminder to stay strong when life feels uncertain. So when you feel afraid, take a deep breath. Calm your mind. And remember: backhand index pointing right, you are not alone. Backhand index pointing right, you are supported. Backhand index pointing right, you will overcome this. My dear friends, as you continue walking with this belief, you will begin to notice something even more powerful: your life starts to feel lighter. Not because problems disappear, but because you are no longer carrying them alone. The teachings of Jesus Christ remind us that when you trust in divine support, your heart becomes calmer even in difficult situations. You stop overthinking every small thing. You stop worrying about every possible outcome. Because now, you understand. Backhand index pointing right, everything does not depend only on you. My dear friends, this is where peace begins. You begin to let go of control. You begin to release unnecessary stress. You begin to trust that things will work out in the right time. Even when challenges come, you don't panic like before. Even when life feels uncertain, you don't lose yourself. Because now, you have something stronger than fear. Backhand index pointing right, faith. And this faith changes your perspective. You start to see difficulties as lessons. You start to see delays as preparation. You start to see struggles as part of your growth. Nothing feels meaningless anymore. So keep moving forward, my dear friends. Stay strong in your faith. Trust the process of your life. Because when you truly believe that God is fighting for you, you stop living in constant worry. And you start living with peace, trust, and quiet confidence. My dear friends, as this faith becomes stronger in your heart, you will begin to experience something even deeper: unshakable confidence. Not the kind that comes from success or perfect situations, but the kind that comes from knowing you are supported no matter what happens. The teachings of Jesus Christ remind us that true strength is built when you trust even in uncertain times. You no longer depend on everything going right. You no longer feel broken when things go wrong. Because now, your strength is not based on circumstances. Backhand index pointing right, it is based on faith. My dear friends, this is where your mindset completely changes. You start taking decisions with courage. You stop doubting yourself at every step. You stop fearing failure like before. Because deep inside, you know. Backhand index pointing right, no matter what happens, you will be okay. Even if you fall, you will rise again. Even if things don't go as planned, you will find a new way. This belief gives you power. You begin to move forward without hesitation. You begin to chase your goals without fear holding you back. And slowly, your life starts to change. Not just outside, but inside you. So hold on to this truth, my dear friends. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Because when you truly accept that God is fighting for you, you don't just survive challenges anymore. You rise above them with strength, courage, and confidence. My dear friends, as you continue living with this strength and confidence, you will begin to experience something even more powerful, a deep sense of peace that nothing can easily disturb. The teachings of Jesus Christ remind us that when your faith becomes stronger than your fear, your heart finds rest even in the middle of chaos. You no longer feel shaken by every problem. You no longer lose sleep over every worry. Because now, you trust that everything is happening for a reason. My dear friends, this is where true freedom begins. You are no longer controlled by fear. You are no longer trapped by anxiety. Instead, you are guided by faith. You start to live each day with calmness. You start to face challenges with a steady mind. You start to accept that not everything needs to be perfect for you to feel okay. And this changes your life in a beautiful way. Because now, your peace does not depend on situations. Backhand index pointing right, it comes from within you. Even when life tests you. Even when things don't go as planned. You remain strong. You remain hopeful. Because deep inside, you know. Backhand index pointing right, you are not alone, and you never were. So keep moving forward, my dear friends. Stay grounded in your faith. Trust the journey you are on. Because when you truly believe this message, do not fear. God is fighting for you. Your life becomes filled with peace, strength, and unshakable courage. My dear friends, as you continue walking in this peace and courage, you will begin to step into something even greater, a life of purpose and direction. The teachings of Jesus Christ remind us that when you stop living in fear, you start living with intention. You are no longer just reacting to life. You are now creating your path. The confusion that once held you back. The fear that once stopped you. Backhand index pointing right no longer has the same power over you. My dear friends, this is where your life begins to align. You start making decisions with clarity. You start choosing what truly matters. You start walking away from things that disturb your peace. Because now, you understand your worth. You realize that your time, your energy, and your peace are valuable. And slowly, everything begins to change. Your mindset becomes stronger. Your actions become wiser. Your path becomes clearer. Even when challenges come, you don't lose direction. Even when life tests you, you don't lose yourself. Because now, your foundation is strong. Backhand index pointing right, faith over fear. So keep moving forward, my dear friends. Stay focused. Stay grounded. Because when you truly believe that God is fighting for you, you don't just overcome life's challenges. You begin to build a life filled with purpose, clarity, and lasting strength.